Moving on from Sarif Industries, we're now going to head back to Sarif headquarters. You have to do that between a lot of the missions actually in this game, and this isn't an exception. So we have to do this quickly before we can head to the Detroit mission itself. Straight away we have a conversation with Malik, very simple, left and then left. That's the fastest option. Now we have to go speak to Pritchard. This is one of the areas where it's important to note like the route I'm taking here, the specific sprint jump route I'm taking. I hit my head once. Every time you hit your head, you actually lose your speed, so you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Talk to Pritchard, and then we need to jump down to the bottom elevator. The reason for this is, A, it's in much more of a straight line, we just have to run over there rather than running around on this floor to the elevator, but also that when we're taking the elevator back down from Sarif's office, you end up on the floor that you took the elevator from, and we need to exit through there, so this ends up being fastest for a couple of reasons. And you also want to do this by jumping over the plant. If you jump here, you'll end up in front of this and you won't be able to run through without crouching. But if you jump over the plant, you get a sort of vault and you can just run straight through. I didn't have to crouch there at all. And now we just take the elevator up to Sarif. We're going to have another conversation with him as well. The dialogue options for this one are left and then left again. And after that we can finally head towards the Detroit mission itself. Left and left. Just got to leave the elevator and turn to the right, and this is the door that we have to leave through. Instantly we're going to have a conversation with Megan's mum where there are 3 dialogue options to remember.
Madame Reed.
It's left, up, and then right.
J'y vais.
And again, you can now see that you need to try and make sure you're taking the correct lines when you're moving around the areas. It can actually add up to quite a lot of time saved. So notice how I'm heading straight for this corner. I did a couple of slightly angled jumps though, just to get around the bin and the pole, but just make sure that your lines are good. Now we have to buy a couple of things from Lynn Clinic. The only thing that it's absolutely necessary to buy is a practice kit, but if you just bought a practice kit, you'd be putting yourself in a pretty awkward situation. So what I would suggest buying as well, heavily suggest, like seriously, just buy this stuff as well. It takes very little time. So to buy 2 stims and buy 2 energy jars as well. It's very fast to buy stuff once you know what you're doing. So just enter to buy stuff and use the arrow keys to move around. So you can see it's very quick to just buy everything I want. And then just escape twice to leave. And now we want to go into our augment menu, just press O, I think is the default bind to do that. Go into our leg augments, grab the top one and the one on the bottom right, and then just press O again to close it instantly. Things we upgraded there are sprinting speed and jump height. So we'll be moving around faster, but on top of that, you can now see if I hold my jump, I jump very high. I can tap space to do small jumps, or I can hold space to do very high jumps. If you're trying to learn the rhythm of the sprint jumping, then I find the high jumps are very useful for that. It's no slower than doing the small jumps. And it's a nice way of getting the rhythm down. We're going to need to unholster our weapon here, and it turns out you can actually unholster in the air without losing any sprinting time. So as soon as you jump off, you want to unholster there. If you unholster while just running around, you won't be able to sprint during that, so it's a very small optimization. And now, shoot that guy in the head, holster your gun, and enter the door. We do this because we're going to piss off the entirety of the police here, and that guy has a shotgun. If we leave while everyone's angry, he's going to shoot us and we're going to die. So shoot him in the head, holster your weapon, and then run in here. And now we have a slightly interesting clip. You actually want to fail this clip. Normally, clip timings, you want to release a little earlier than immediately before the wall, because if you release too late, you're going to end up inside of whatever it is you're trying to clip with. So if you try and release the box too late on a normal clip, you're going to end up inside of the box. I mean, you don't want that. But with this one, we actually do. So you want to line yourself up at a roughly 45-degree angle, just aiming in this direction, and release pretty much as late as you can, so that you end up inside the bin like this. And then face in this direction, so somewhere between these vending machines and this side, just aim over here, hold backwards, and crouch. And then we end up on this vent here. If you don't face the direction I faced and hold backwards, you'll either fall into the abyss and just die, or you'll fall inside this room, which is not good, because you can't, this door is actually a code door, and there's no code on this side, because you're not supposed to be able to enter here without going through that door, so you don't want to get yourself stuck in this room. My gun is actually out here, it's not loaded in this area, so just shoot this guy, otherwise we have to talk to him when we're taking the chip from that guy, and then just jump over here. Make sure you don't jump too far, like straight when you're jumping off the vent, because there's actually nothing behind that wall. So this area here, behind this, there's nothing there and you'll just fall down and miss it. So jump in a diagonal towards where this door is, and then go through here, and the code is 9212. As soon as we take this chip, we're going to start a conversation with Sarif, and just like before, you can't actually leave this area until the conversation is over. So as soon as we take this, we're going to run over here and grab this stim, because we have a few seconds to kill, basically. If we took the chip and ran straight to the exit, we'd get there and we'd have to wait for a bit. So take the chip just by mashing E. I usually mash E 3 times, just to get in and out of the menu and take it before it even pops up. Then run over, grab the stim, and then just follow the route that I'm taking. The hypo stims that I bought earlier, which you can see on my hotbar under number 4, they're going to heal me to 150 health regardless of the health I'm on, so you want to try and use them when you're kind of low, and we're going to use them to survive leaving the police station. In an ideal scenario, we only use one of those, not both, but if you have to use both, it's better than dying, so just use both if you absolutely need to. So mash that, take it, go over there, take the stim, and now just follow where I'm going.
Pritchard devrait y jeter un coup d'œil.
Non, ne l'apportez pas ici. Franck est encore en pleine vérification. Et je ne veux pas risquer de connecter quoi que ce soit sur notre réseau tant qu'il n'a pas fini.
Just be ready with your finger hovering around the 4, just in case you need to stim.
Entrez à votre appartement avec le relais. Franck vous contactera là-bas.
And then leave. I'm going to need to stim here because these police officers are going to be angry at me. So you see I was on very low health there. I pressed 4 and instantly I got up to 150. And I only had to use one of my 3 stims.
Jenny, qu'est-ce qu'il voulait?
Elle a dit qu'elle aurait besoin d'un coup de main si vous pouviez aller jusqu'à Grand River Road. J'ajoute que même si je suis ravi de vous revoir parmi nous, je n'ai pas l'intention de devenir votre secrétaire personnel.
And this is a highlight of why we take the revolver now rather than the stun gun. I can keep it out all the way till this elevator, and now I can reload. I don't need to reload after I shoot, I can just wait and reload here. You can holster it here as well, because we don't need it for the rest of this mission.
Vous avez accès à mon ordinateur personnel?
In fact, we actually want it holstered, because we're going to be throwing a grenade later on, and if you throw objects with a weapon out, you actually throw them much slower. Now we're going to use this computer, and I'm going to hover my mouse over the left side of the disconnect button as it's loading into the cutscene, and you'll see why in a second. You can see my mouse hover over the left side, so that when I skip the cutscene, my mouse is already there. I don't need to press left and enter, I can just press space and spam click, but on top of that, I can also disconnect from the computer while the screen is still black and it's loading me back in. So just spam left click, skip the cutscene, and you also disconnect from the computer.
Ici David.
Laissez-moi deviner. Vous m'envoyez à Highland Park.
Pas tout de suite. Richard a trouvé comment ils ont pu infiltrer notre réseau. Il y a un signal permanent qui provient de Derelict.
En plein territoire des gangs?
Notre ami se faisait passer pour un militant anti-augmentation. Et quelle meilleure cachette qu'au milieu des flambeurs de Derelict.
D'accord. J'y vais tout de suite.
We need to make it through Derelict Row without actually being seen. If you are seen very early on, you're pretty much gonna die. It's not guaranteed, you don't... Like, we are playing on easy, sometimes the guards decide to just never hit you. But if you are seen, I highly recommend loading a quick save or something like that. So I'm going to do a few guard manipulation things here. There's going to be a guard at the top of this small set of stairs. I'm going to run past him to make him turn around, but more importantly, there are going to be two guards in front of me as well. I need to make some noise to get them to turn around, and then I need to jump over the top of them. The way I do this personally is to run out of stamina. I don't obviously have to run around in a circle here, I've just been sprinting here, and then I run out of stamina. And then when I'm going up towards them, I'll just be pressing shift whenever I have some stamina, like this. And that makes enough noise to get them to turn around, and as soon as I start to see them turn around, I press shift and I jump over the top of them. So I'm going to run out of stamina here just to simulate what it would normally be like for me at this point in the run. So just like that. Just spamming shift and keep tapping it and then jump over. You'll also see that you sprint around behind that guy to make him turn around, and then jump up here. I also make a quick save here. And I need to get past these next guys without them seeing me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprint up into the edge of this, do a maximum length jump, walk off the edge, and then jump over the next one as well. So yeah, I wasn't 100% certain whether that was going to work because I hesitated for a very long time, but the quick save I made just as I jumped up there, so it should be fine now. So that's pretty much exactly how you want to do that, to reliably never have them see you. Crouch under here, move the barrel out of the way, and then grab these grenades. As soon as you grab them, you want to actually press 6 to select them. And then sprint through here. And now we're coming up to a kind of a semi-difficult trick. It takes a little bit of time to get it down. It's not too hard, but it'll definitely take a little bit of practice. We're going to be taking this barrel with us. A consistent setup for this barrel is to push it into the corner like this, and then turn to the right very slowly. And then when you see the barrel pop out, like that, there was a very small pop there. I'll show it again. There. You see the barrel pop out. Once it's popped out like that, you know that it's in a good enough position for you to do this trick. Jump up on top of it. Make a quick save. Throw the grenade underneath it. And then as it explodes, you want to jump up. The timing on that takes a little bit of time to get down. It's not too hard, you don't need a massive amount of height for this trick, but as soon as the grenade explodes, a little bit after maybe, just hold space and you should be able to make it up on top of the roof. If you're too close to the wall, what will happen is that you bump into one of the parts that sticks out, and that's why we need the barrel to be slightly away from the wall as well. So yeah, hopefully you can get that down without too much trouble. Come over here and put the code in, which is 5962, and move it to inactive. Now all we have to do is wait for Malik to arrive. So what we can do in the meantime is grab a few mines that are going to be very, very useful for us coming up. So make sure you're slow moving here. Something that people don't actually realize sometimes when they're playing this game is that there is a walk button. I'll show it off in a second. I don't actually know what the default bind is because I've changed mine. I can't remember what the default bind is, but you can see this is normal walking speed. And then I put on the slow walk, and this is how fast I move. If you're not doing that in that room, the mines will set off because they're motion sensitive. And come over here and talk to Malik as she arrives. Get your gun out and equip your mines. This is a convenient place to do both of those things. And that's the end of Detroit.